Welcome to Phoenix Healing Podcast, where mental health is our number one priority, featuring Liam Z. Muniz. Enjoy. Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to Phoenix Healing Podcast, where mental health is our number one priority, with your host, Liam Z. Muniz, of course. So, y'all, this week's episode, I do want to get a little vulnerable and interpersonal with some of my personal struggles, that I've struggled with my entire life, really, and lately it's been coming up more again. It's my struggle with body dysmorphia and just my overall acceptance of my appearance and my body, etc. So that's what we're going to touch base on today. But of course, before we get started, we're going to do some affirmations to ground ourselves in our energy, to make sure that we are expressing and absorbing from a place of true authenticity so that we may connect as authentic and organically as possible. So let's get into it. Also, I should mention, you're going to hear a lot of background noises because there are currently 7 kittens running around my room. Don't ask any questions. We don't talk about it. But okay, let's get started with the affirmations. Deep breath. Alrighty. I am more than enough. I accept myself for all that I am. I accept myself as I come. I know who I am. I love who I am. I love who I see. I love who I am becoming. I am allowing myself to express in authentic ways. Everybody is just out and about today. Dr. Seuss in a building. I allow myself to simply be. I am raw and organic in my essence. I love every aspect of my being. I accept myself physically. I accept myself emotionally. I accept myself energetically. I accept myself spiritually. I'm proud of who I am. I always show up for myself. I am always willing to do what is best for me. I always take action based on what is best for me. It is okay to not feel okay. Maybe I'm not where I want to be, but I am exactly where I need to be. I allow myself the space to not feel the best, but I also allow myself the space to feel like a badass. I am beautiful. I am amazing. I am sexy. I am handsome. I am bright. I am a star. What makes me so valuable is my mind. What makes me so beautiful is my energy, is my soul, and my essence. I am more than enough for me. Kissy for you. Y'all, I can hear all of the background noise in my headphones. This is very much raw cuts. Don't even play with them. But okay, let's get into it because honestly, lately, I've been like feeling it more than usual. And it's something I've always struggled with. I've always struggled with body dysmorphia, and it's a fucking pain in the absolute asshole. Because the way that every time I wake up, first of all, I feel like I don't know what my body looks like. I don't know what my body feels like. I don't know, you know, what is my natural state of being physically. And so with body dysmorphia and all that is like I sometimes look in the mirror or just pass by some kind of reflection, and every single time I look at myself, I look differently. I feel differently, right? And it's really difficult to accept my body and accept my appearance or see it in a certain way because it's always different, right? It feels like it's always changing. I feel like for those who aren't really aware with what it's like to experience body dysmorphia or to view yourself through that kind of space, I would say, to put into visuals, I would say it's almost like I'm this jigsaw puzzle And every time I look at the puzzle, there's more pieces missing, or like there's a different piece in a different place, or it's like, it's all kinds of just crazy. Like it's still one whole picture, but there's always something that is different. There's always a piece missing, or there's a piece added, or like just extra shit. And that's what it feels like for me. And I'm really trying my best to remain in a positive headspace when it comes to my body, because I actually have improved a lot when it comes to my self-image and self-acceptance. I'm taking care of myself a lot more than before. I'm eating better. I work out basically every day. I stay active. I make sure that I take care of myself physically, and I also put in the time and effort and space and energy to ensure that I'm mentally taking care of myself, so that when I look in a mirror, I don't just see a body, right? But I feel like I'm in this body, and I feel like this is my vessel, and I feel like this isn't just a slab of meat. And there are moments when that feels really difficult to do. There are moments when I feel really fucking shitty, and I feel like, like, I struggled with eating disorders as well. And so those two and two, body dysmorphia and eating disorders, are a hell of a fucking pair. Like those are little demons working together because that really messes with my head. And so sometimes when I look in a mirror and I'm like, oh, I look like super thin today, even though I might look exactly how I looked, every other day. I'm like, oh, I look so thin today. I look like, I'm malnourished, whatever. I'll force myself to eat with the intention of, oh, I need to gain weight. I need to do this to look healthier. I need to do this to look better. And sometimes that puts me in spaces where I get really uncomfortable, because I'll eat and I'll eat and I'll eat and I'm already full, but I'm like, no, I need to finish this plate if I want to look good, if I want to feel good, if I want to, present myself the way that I'm meant to be. And I don't know, man. And then other days it's like, I feel like I'm too fat, or I feel like I ate too much. And then instead of eating more, I'll eat less, and I'll eat in smaller bits and bites. And it can be so overwhelming, those feelings, those thoughts, those emotions, because sometimes they come up at random times, right? Like I can be feeling real good one day. I'm like, I put on a nice outfit, I'm loving my body, but as soon as I'm placed around people, or I'm just out, I'll start thinking and hyper focusing on certain details of my body. I'm like, oh, like my legs are too skinny. Like there's something wrong with my ankles. There's something wrong with my legs. Like, why did I wear these pants? Or, why am I wearing this shirt? I should have wore a shirt that was tighter. Like, it's literally a never ending thought process of different things that I should or shouldn't be doing with my body. And it's not always like this. There are days when I feel more confident and a lot more comfortable in my body, in my vessel, but it's just such an inconsistency. And I'm really trying to learn how to maintain that balance, because I'm very self-aware and understanding that when you are healing conditionings and different aspects of yourself that are difficult, such as body dysmorphia or depression, or just different perspectives that you reflect onto yourself, I understand that it's not just going to disappear. Those thoughts are still going to be there, but it's about being consistent and learning how to manage it so that it doesn't affect what you do and how you take action and how you view yourself and how you love yourself and how you love others. And so I've been allowing these thoughts to come up. I've been paying attention to them and trying not to attach myself to these thoughts so that I can better understand, well, how can I handle it? How can I maneuver around it? How can I take that part of me that is still hurt and is still broken and is still, scared and feels like this isn't my body? How can I use her and take her in a nurturing manner and, kind of guide her into the light, guide her out of the darkness, guide her out of that pain and out of that hurt and out of those memories and experiences that placed her in that box, right? So it's really, it's really this little game where I have these thoughts. I'm aware of them. I feel the feelings that comes with the thoughts. But then I detach myself from it so that I become the observer rather than the one that's in the experience or indulgence of those emotions. So I don't identify with them. And that's difficult to do sometimes, you know? So I'm like, I want to sit down and talk about it because I feel like this is something that's really, really common, and sometimes we don't really know how to identify, right? Especially with social media and, body images and body types being glorified on social media. It can be difficult to not sit there and compare yourself or judge yourself to what you see, right? It's really difficult to do that when you see numbers or you see so many people and so many celebrities who are in the spotlight who glorify or kind of just highlight, a certain aspect of the body. And if you ever feel like, why don't I look like this, or I want to look like this, or I'm not enough, or my body isn't good enough, babe, you are good enough. And I feel you, I feel you in a sense where I understand that it is difficult to accept your body in a society that's constantly telling us to be molded a certain way. And I do feel that things have been changing in this society when it comes to self-acceptance and accepting body images, which I love. That's amazing. But it's also it's still presented and pressured in so many ways, like in music where they talk about women who are thick, or they talk about these different things that kind of almost instill this perspective or projection that women who carry more meat or body weight on the body is more attractive. And then there's others where they kind of pressure and push onto you that women who are skinnier, they're more attractive. So it's like it's always this this combative kind of opinionated projection that society places into our minds. And I understand, everyone has the little baby cats at my feet. Everyone has their different opinions on body type, and I think that's okay to say, I prefer someone who is thicker, I prefer someone who is skinnier. But it is not your responsibility to identify, well, am I attractive because I'm thicker? Am I attractive because I'm skinnier? You are attractive, you are beautiful, you are bright, you are amazing because of who you are. And the vessel, yes, it is going to be one of the first things that people sees, but if someone identifies your value based on how you look and how your body is presented, that is a them kind of problem. And those are the kind of people that you shouldn't be around, right? And I feel like I've placed myself in those spaces so much that I start looking for it because it becomes a comfort for my body dysmorphia. It becomes a comfort to hear the validation of a man or someone telling me, "Oh, you have a nice body," or "Oh, you're getting thicker," or whatever. And because I got so comfortable and used to that, I sometimes find myself and I observe myself that I search for it in a lot of places that I go. And so I'm trying to change that perspective because I do not want to feel that the only way I can feel valuable or identify as a worthy woman is if I have, curves, or if someone agrees that I'm gaining weight, or if someone agrees that I'm doing good in the gym. Because I don't want to work out, I don't want to eat good to change my body. I want to work out and eat good so that I feel good in my body. It's a very different thing to look good and feel good, because there are some people who look good and they don't feel good. There are some people who might be projected with opinions of, oh, you don't look good, but they feel good in their skin, right? So that's what really matters. And so with body dysmorphia, it's easier said than done, of course, to change that perspective and view yourself differently. But I feel like it starts with us just taking those first steps, identifying, well, in what ways am I further investing my energy into identifying my value with outside validation, with my body, with, oh my gosh, the kitty, or with other things of myself that are physical, right? So let's try to create and find value from our internal self and then be able to project it outward, because that is what matters. What matters is who you are internally. What matters is how you love yourself. What matters is how you love others. What matters is how you are showing up for you, not for others, for you. Okay, boo? And regardless if you're skinny, if you're thick, if you're medium, if you're a square, a pear, a apple, a fucking circle, like, I don't think that should matter. And even as I'm saying this, I feel like a part of me is still holding on to that obsession with being this perfect, like, Coke body kind of figure. And it's like, bro, like, our bodies are naturally ever changing, especially for women. Like, when we get our periods, at least in my perspective, when I'm on my period, my entire body bloats and I'm like a whole different shape, right? And sometimes I forget that and I'm like, damn, like, how am I changing this quickly? Like, and sometimes my body does change very quickly because, I have a big appetite, but I also have a fast metabolism. So sometimes I feel like I'll eat and it'll fucking disappear to my damn toes because I'm like, yo, I'm hungry again. And so when I'm in a space where I feel that I'm, quote unquote fat, or I look fat, or I feel fat, and I'm getting that appetite where I want to eat some more, I really judge myself and I pressure myself and I limit myself. And I'm like, no, you can't eat because you're fat. You can't eat because you're going to keep gaining weight. You can't eat because you're not going to look good, you know? And that's such a terrible, terrible, terrible way to speak to yourself, to present yourself, to view yourself, to love yourself. And that is not love. That is conditioning. Those are limitations. Those are your own interpersonal oppressions towards yourself. Like, you having a healthy relationship with food isn't just always eating healthy foods. It's allowing yourself to indulge in the blessings of food. And, I mean, it is better not to eat like junk food and fried foods all of the time, but allowing yourself to indulge, to enjoy, and having that balance of still being active, of still allowing your body to digest, allowing your body to turn that food into energy and making something of it. That's something else I've been trying to really teach myself lately, is that I don't have to hold back on how much I eat. Because let me tell you, your girl loves to eat. That's what I'm gonna say. And sometimes I do feel like, damn, like, I'm a fucking fat ass. But it's not that I'm a fat ass, it's that that's one of the ways that I like to experience life. I love to experience, the indulgence and the magical essence of my taste buds, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as we maintain that balance, as I stated, where you're not just consuming and then going and laying on the couch. You can consume and consume, but move and move, or just create and turn that into something that'll be valuable for you, right? And I'm so fucking grateful that we have food, that we're able to eat, and it's like, I don't know, like, it's like, some days I feel so fucking good, and then other days I feel like a fucking piece of poopy kaki, like. And I've had so many people where I would tell them this and they're like, oh, like, I would have never imagined that, because I feel that a lot of the times I kind of mask and I present myself with this sense of confidence, and I'm confident in my body and I carry my body in a nice way and I take care of it. But like, some of those days when I look most confident are the days when I feel most shitty within myself, because I'm like, yo, like, I don't feel that I look the way that I want to look in order to be valuable, and that's me projecting my own conditioned ways of viewing myself, viewing that in order for me to be a woman, that I have to have these curves and I have to have this certain beautification kind of thing, and I don't think that's right. And I feel like this is a little message to myself, but it might be for you. I feel that it's okay to not always feel that you look exactly that you want to look, but I think keeping in mind that no matter what I look like, no matter who is in my life, no matter what I'm wearing or what my physical self looks, I always have me. I always have those tools. I always have that energy. I always have that magic and that love within me. And that is what is always going to continuously make me valuable. Because my body is ever changing. My outfits are ever changing. My style is ever changing. My hair changes. My skin breaks out a lot. My skin can be clear some days. But regardless of what I am presented as, regardless of what others view me as or how I see myself, that value will never change. It can only get better. You know what I'm saying? Because the value is not the body, the value is you. The value is your mind. The value is the way that you love yourself and show up for yourself. So in those days when you feel that you're not 100% there physically, show up for yourself more than ever. Show up for yourself more than motherfucking ever in ways that are mental, in ways that are energetic, emotional, spiritual. Show yourself that I don't have to look a certain way for me to be a good human, for me to be loving, for me to be caring, for me to be valuable, for me to be deserving of unconditional love, right? And literally, as I'm stating this, I'm viewing myself through the camera and I keep glancing at my legs. Like, y'all, this is no joke, like, literally a very, 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 very large portion of my life, which, let's just say all of it, because I'm pretty young. Let's just say all of it. It's like, I wouldn't leave the house. I wouldn't do a single thing without passing by the mirror, without having to check myself, without having to see, like, oh, am I looking good in the right places? Like, am I showing the right things? Am I, like, yo, and it's so frustrating because it would feel like I could not step out of that door unless I did that. Like, literally, it felt like I was a fucking puppet on strings, and if I didn't do it, that my strings would be cut off and I'll fucking die and flop, or I'll be burned at stake. I'm like, girl, like, and building that relationship with your body sometimes isn't easy. And when you struggle with body dysmorphia and you're struggling with eating disorders and anxiety and all these things, it's like sometimes I don't even feel like this is my body, So I'm kind of relearning what my body is and how my body feels and what my body looks like, or what I can do with my body. I'm relearning these different aspects of I feel like crying. I feel like crying. I'm relearning these basic aspects of my being because for so long I didn't feel that this was my body. I felt like my body was, something that was meant to please others, whether it's visually or actually physically pleasing someone. That's what I always felt like, and that is how I always viewed myself, and that is how I always presented myself, and that is how I always spoke to myself. And so I I still catch myself in moments where I want to be intimate with a person, or not even like physically intimate, or just intimate in other ways, and I find myself drawing back to that same perspective where it's like, okay, but is my body what they want? Do I look the way that they would want me to look? Do I look attractive to them? Should I like walk a certain way? Should I look a certain way? Should I dress a certain way? Should I poke my butt out? Like, bruh. Like, if you can relate to this, you are not alone, like, at all. That's why I sit down and have these talks. Like, they're kind of random, but I sit down and talk about things as they're happening in my life. And this is something that's been happening my whole life, but recently those thoughts have been coming up again, and I know that it's a process of my healing. So I'm not attaching myself to all of those feelings and everything that's coming back up, but I'm allowing myself to reevaluate it all, to kind of skim through it all and understand it one more time, and allow myself to apply everything that I've learned on this journey, so that I don't allow these emotions and perspectives to ever hinder my growth or ever make me feel like I'm not valuable, because I'm starting to better understand that I am valuable. My mind is valuable. The way that I love people is so valuable, and that's something I don't ever want to change about myself. I can be a little bug with a little body, you know, and I'm still gonna be able to have that value and that love within me. The kitty, oh my goodness. and and so yeah, that's kind of what's been coming up lately. And I've been allowing myself to explore my body some more. Like, oh my gosh. Like when it comes to working out again, I've been pushing myself a little more, seeing, what are my limitations? Because we are limitless. Period. You set up your limitations. So I've been really trying to go past my set limitations, and also trying to explore my body sexually. Like we're going to get real TMI here because why not? We're an open book. But I've been allowing myself to explore myself sexually, whether it's by myself or with another person, because when I feel like with my past sexual experiences, I didn't feel like I was in my body. As I stated before, I felt like, my body was just a tool to please, and I was just there because they either comforted me or I comforted them, just a lot of trauma bonding. And it was never with the intention to actually explore my body, explore what feels good right for me, what feels good right for explore what feels good for me, or what movements are good for me, like what can my body do? How can my body be explored? How can my body be loved or touched on or whatever, And this is a whole new experience for me, because even in the experience or the process of being sexually intimate with someone, sometimes I find myself drifting back, like slowly. I'm like way back here. I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, girl, like come back to me. Like, come on, we need to come back. This is an experience that we are deserving of, right? We are deserving of it, allowing our body to be loved, to be touched on, to be felt on, as long as it's with, people, places, and things that are good for you, that are healthy, that hold good intentions, that aren't just completely lustful, with people who actually want to care for your body and not just use and take from your body. And allowing myself to indulge in those experiences, it's been something new for me. It's been very new for me. It's almost like it makes me feel like a child. That sounds a little strange because of the topic, but like it brings out this childlike feeling where I feel safe and secure again, where I don't feel like, I'm running for something, from something. I don't feel like I'm being chased by anything. Like I feel safe and secure. And in those moments, it's like there will be those little bits and little whispers of fearful thoughts and conditioning and perspectives, where it's like, oh, like you're doing a bad thing, like you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be giving people your body, you shouldn't be do, like you made a bad choice, And then at the same time, it's like, bruh, but like I deserve to be loved, right? I deserve to feel someone else loving me. I deserve to allow myself to be present in my body for the first fucking time. Oh, the baby just dropped my plant. Okay. For the first fucking time in a very long time, I deserve to experience that. There is nothing wrong with that. I know that in this society, they're like, oh, like, if you have sex and you're not with that person, you're like a hoe or this other thing. Then personally, I feel like that's toxic as fuck. I'm gonna just put that out there. And not to say that we're out here just exchanging energy with anyone and everyone. That's not the case. But allowing yourself to indulge in equally give and take experiences where you can exchange those energies sexually or physically, and allow yourself to experience an aspect of life that humans are meant to experience. The kitty is climbing up my legs, so if you see it on the video, that's a little bonus for you. But and I'm becoming more comfortable with allowing myself to make my own choices with my body. And that's something where I felt like I was, look at him, the little baby. I felt like I not really restricted, but I feel like when I made choices in the past to be intimate with someone, or just to, share my body with someone in some way, it was it felt like it was more of an obligation, and not that the other person was obligating me, but it was like I was obligating myself, because I'm like, okay, if I want to feel valuable, if I want to feel like a woman, I have to prove it to this person, or have this person prove to me that I am valuable, needing their physical validation, needing some kind of reassurance for my body. And so those choices were always made from a place of lack. And now I'm allowing myself to make these choices from a place of fulfillment and abundance, understanding that I am whole and complete. I don't need to be sexually active with anyone. I don't need to be physically intimate with anyone, but I am choosing to, because it is an aspect and experience of life that I feel that I am deserving of experiencing, in healthy ways, and not in ways that are toxic or that take too much from me. And if that were to ever happen, I understand and I trust that I'm able to walk away from those connections. I'm able to make the choices that are best for me. Period. And so, yeah, this is kind of where I am. It's almost like, oh, he just bumped into the camera. It's almost like, it's really strange, because energetically, it's almost like I'm transitioning from being a child to being an adult. Which is like, but it's like, that's what it feels like energetically, and kind of spiritually as well, is like my energy, my essence, my level of self-acceptance and self-confidence is evolving in a way where I'm no longer fearful of making these choices. I'm no longer fearful of, excuse me, of viewing myself as one whole being, right? Like, I used to view myself as a whole bunch of different parts, and my body was not a part of that, like it's like, now I do feel like this is my body. I do feel like, maybe it's not 100% how I want it to be, but understanding that this body takes me from point A to point B. This body allows me to walk and jump and dance and do all of these things that a lot of people aren't able to do. That is an immense blessing. And regardless of how my body looks in those moments, it's still moving, it's still healthy, it's still strong, it's still doing what it has to do. And I would never complain about it, even though there are moments when I do, right? But I no longer want to do that. I am in the process of stepping away from those perspectives and those negative self comments, right? And it all starts with you. We can seek so much external validation, and all we're doing is just digging a deeper hole for ourselves, because the more that you seek other people to help you and put out your fires, you're never going to learn how to put out the fire by yourself when you are on your own. And so that fire, when you are on your own, it's going to keep burning, and it's going to destroy more than ever, because you were so negligent of taking care of yourself, of putting out the fires on your own and learning different ways to do so, and allowing yourself to experience life and make mistakes and feel not okay, but finding ways to manage that. It all starts with you, and it is difficult sometimes. So, take it easy, go at a slow pace, go at the pace that works for you, because everyone is different, everyone is on a different journey. That's why we should never place ourselves in a space where we feel that we have to compare ourselves to each other, because we are completely different people. We might, connect with a lot of certain things. We might experience a lot of similar things, but we are all built and created to live a certain kind of life. And sometimes those lives can look the same, but they are not the same. They're different shoes, they're different paths, or different footsteps, right? Different footprints that you're leaving behind. And those paths can be difficult, and people can help you, but you have to take the effort. You have to have the courage. You have to have the strength to continue to move forward and find, what ways of walking work best for me. It's like, on this path, there's so many different terrains and textures and things, and sometimes we have to switch out our shoes, but you are the one to tell, okay, what shoe is going to work best for me? Do I need some hiking boots? Do I need some damn sandals? Like, am I walking on the sand and mud? It's not that someone else is just gonna throw some shoes at you and be like, oh, here, put them on. They might throw you some shoes and they're the wrong shoes, right? So now you're wearing and you're taking action from a place that isn't really right for you on a path that is right for you, but you're not going to be able to experience the walk the same way because you're not wearing the right shoes, because you had to put on the right shoes, you had to pick it, you had to make that choice, right? So I know we out here not me talking about fucking boots and mud and hiking but all in all, just to say that even in moments of difficulty, yes, it's okay for you to want help and external, some sort of external validation or reassurance, but you should be the basis of your validation. You hold the value. It is all internal, and only you can see your internal world. Only you live your internal world 24 fucking 7. Like, you might have some really close best friends and family members or cousins or whatever, and they might be like, oh, I know her. Like, yes, I know her 100%. I know everything about her, but they don't. No one knows everything about you except you. So with that in mind, you need to be able to become your own parent, your own guardian, your own leader, right? To continue to push yourself. And when it comes to your physical image and self-acceptance, it's understanding that I am an ever-changing being. I am always going to look differently most of the time, right? Because that's how our body naturally processes things. Sometimes we might eat a certain food that gets us bloated and we might look bloated. Sometimes we might, drink some concoctions that get our digestive system moving a lot quicker, and we might look skinnier in those days, right? These are all natural processes of our body. Our bodies were never meant to be glorified in a manner where it's lustful or where we are objectified and sexualized. That was never supposed to happen. That is all a complete conditioning from history to now, right? And that's something we need to uncondition. And the only way we can uncondition that is by understanding internally and accepting that my value is not a reflection of what I see in my reflection. My value is a reflection of who I am inside of me. And who you are inside of you is going to naturally reflect to others, right? It's just a natural thing, your personality, the way that you love, the way that you show up. People are going to be able to naturally see that. And sometimes, people hold different perspectives and they might project certain things at you and they'll see you differently or judge you, whatever. That's none of your fucking business. You move on with your life, right? You cannot control the way a person views you or how a person values you, because the way that a person views you and values you is the way that they value and view themselves, and that's a part of their own healing, their own cycle, their own journey, their own whatever the fuck. That has nothing to do with you. You just have to keep in mind that I am worthy and I am valuable and I am beautiful and I am bright and I am all of the amazing things under the sun simply because I am who I am. Not because I look the way that I look. It's because I am who I am. It is because I feel like I am deserving of good things. I feel that I do carry such beautiful love and magical fucking energies within me that I deserve to enjoy. And whatever way that looks for you, you go on ahead and do that. You go on ahead and do that. Enjoy those energies. Enjoy that unconditional love. Enjoy those moments of expression and experiences or intimacy, in ways that are fruitful for you, because everyone's blessings comes in different forms. Everything comes in different forms, right? The universe doesn't just have one way of expressing unconditional love to you. There are many different forms too. And you get to choose, well, how do I accept it? How do I take it in? What do I do with this energy, right? So make those choices for yourself. And I'm low-key talking to myself. I'm low-key literally speaking from my highest being to myself, where it's like, yo, you don't have to constantly feel that you need validation from people around you to give you the green light of, okay, it's okay for me to express myself this way. It's okay for me to be intimate with people. It's okay for me to accept my body. It's okay for me to show my skin. Like, there are moments when I'll wear like something tight, or I'll be showing my skin or whatever, and I'll feel guilty and I'll feel shameful, and I'm like, what the fuck, like. And it's because I instilled in my mind for so long that I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be, seen sexually or objectified, or, my body being viewed in different ways. But it's like, regardless if I'm wearing a fucking baggy ass hoodie or a tight shirt or something, I'm most likely still going to be objectified and sexualized. That's never going to change because I am a woman. And the same thing with men. Regardless if you're wearing fucking some baggy joggers or some shorts or something, like, how people be like, oh, the gray sweatpants, like, that's so gross that we normalize that, you know what I'm saying? And regardless of what you're wearing, you are still going to be objectified and sexualized and viewed in the perspectives of what other people are projecting onto you. So fuck that shit. No one cares. You wear what you want to wear. If you want to show skin, show skin. That's never an excuse for someone to ever feel that they have the right to use you or sexualize you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I hear that so much. Like, I know when I was younger, I was literally a little baby. I couldn't wear just regular bathing suit bottoms because my little poom poom will pop out a little bit. And I wasn't allowed to because there were men around who would most likely sexualize and objectify me, and that would, like, quote unquote place me in danger. And I'm like, bro, that's so gross. Like, from a little ass age, from a little child, I was conditioned to believe that because I am a woman and I happen to have, curvier parts of my body, that it's going to be a natural target to me being harmed, or me being sexualized, or me being objectified, or me being placed in spaces and perspectives that almost take from my value. Like, no, what the fuck? Like, it's never a fucking excuse, because regardless of how you show up, what you look like, what you're wearing, who you are, people will naturally sexualize and objectify you. I'm not saying everyone, but those people who already have that internalized within themselves, they're going to naturally project that onto you. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a fucking trash bag. Like, it's still going to happen. So when we instill that perspective in our minds that I am only valuable if I'm wearing a certain piece of clothing, or I'm only valuable if I'm, showing more skin, like, no, babe. No, baby. That is not true. It's all just a falsification of our own internal worlds. Like, everyone is going to view you however they view themselves. Everyone is going to view you however they view their own world and their life and whatever the fuck they have going on within them, right? So do things because you want to do it. If you want to wear layers of baggy clothes, do that, yo. Who cares if someone's like, oh, you're a bum? Like, shut the fuck up. Like, please. Like, I feel like I've detached from material so much, where it's like, I'm to the point where I will literally, if I want a new wardrobe, I'll go to the thrift store and I'll buy clothes there. Like, I don't care. I haven't gone to the mall in so long. Like, I do not care anymore. Like, I want to find authentic ways of expressing myself, authentic ways of styling my vessel and my being, without it having to be restricted or limited by society's perspectives and limitations. Like, take a chance for yourself, do things for yourself, dress for yourself, love yourself, express yourself the way that feels right for you, not the way that you feel is going to look right for those around you. No one gives a single shit about what anyone else sees you as or feels about you, because that's none of your business, right? You are who you are, and there is no reason for you to ever have to over explain yourself as to why you are who you are. You simply are who you are, right? Like, if people feel like defensive, or they're like, oh, like, why are you like this? Like, why are you so energetic? Why are you so childlike? Why do you dress this way? Why do you do these things? You do not owe that person a single word out of your mouth. You simply are the way that you are. And if people around you are not willing to accept that, That is completely their problem, has nothing to do with you. As long as you feel that you are doing something that is authentic and it is true to who you are and true to your being, you are always doing the right thing. And you don't owe anything to fucking anybody. So you go on and dress the way you want to dress. You go on and express the way you want to express. You go on and do whatever the fuck you want to do, as long as it is not putting you in harm's way and it is actually something that is going to continuously, place you in spaces where you can grow and you can learn and you can experience positively and healthy ways, ways right. So yeah, y'all, like, I just want to do that little rant because I feel like that was a message, a very big message for myself, from spirit. She's like, girl, we is getting loud in here because you was not listening. Because yeah, like, it's like I was doing this thing where I was allowing myself to dress differently. Like, if you guys haven't noticed, I cover my head a lot, and it's more of a spiritual practice, but I feel like a part of that reason is also because I used to identify with my hair a lot, and that's why I cut it as well, because I felt that my hair was a huge part of my identity as a woman. Because women, they're seen or projected as like this woman with like nice long feminine hair, super luscious, super healthy, super do 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 do. And I had nice hair, but I was like, yo, like, it got to the point where I would literally obsess over it. Like, I would not leave the house. I would not do anything if my hair wasn't fucking perfect. If my curls weren't super coily and super healthy and shiny and fluffy or whatever, And I don't ever want to feel that I'm not a woman unless I have this perfect hair, or unless I look like I'm super healthy and I'm super sexy or whatever, Like, so for me, to slowly uncondition myself, I've been doing things differently. Covering my head, it's a spiritual practice in protecting my energy and protecting my crown, but it's also, almost like, what do you call it, it's almost like a physical symbol, like a very symbolic, ritualistic kind of thing, where it's like I'm showing myself, I'm showing up for myself and allowing myself to simply be who I am without having to worry about, okay, but how is my hair falling? Like what do they think of my hair? Like, is it feminine enough, type of thing, And also it highlights more of my face, of of my face, of who I am, of how I show up, of my expressions, of my personality. So there's not going to be like a million different things that I can nitpick at myself, like my hair, my clothes, my body, my do, my thing, my dang, It's just me showing up raw as shit and allowing myself to view myself as my personality, as my soul, as my self-expression, as my creativity, as my mind, as my unconditional love, and not limiting it to certain aspects of my physical being. So it's like, I feel like when we're able to identify, well, what is it that I'm really like attaching myself energetically and emotionally to, that is hindering me from my growth, that is hindering me from expressing myself authentically. I feel that once we can identify that and we can better understand it, we can take small steps. We can change things up. You can, if you're always used to wearing really tight clothing and you kind of identified yourself with it, and you only felt valuable if you were wearing tight clothing, try something new. Start wearing baggy clothes, or like loose skirts or loose pants or something, right? And get comfortable with the feeling of not identifying with your curves or with your body or with your figure, with whatever, and identifying with your mind, with your creativity, with your voice, with your heart, like there's so much more to us than just what we see physically. And it's definitely a process to uncondition yourself from living in that way, living in such a materialistic 3D world. Like, everything is about the physical, everything is about materials, everything is about things that we can see and touch and grab and feel and whatever, like. But I feel like it's so much deeper. I feel like everything that matters are usually things that we can't see. It's things that we experience internally. It's things that we can feel. It's things that we can just sense energetically or spiritually. I feel like that's what really matters. And it's not easy to detach from that aspect, but there are ways that we can do it. So, my challenge to you, I feel like I always want to end the podcast with like a question or something for you to carry this energy with. Okay, so my challenge or question to you is, I don't think it's a question. Let's just say challenge. Okay, my challenge to you is to change something up that you usually do in your life. Change it up, try something different, and see how you feel. See how, even though something is different in your life, or you're dressing differently, or you change something about something that you do, right? You're still the same person. You're still the same lovable, amazing star. My beautiful soul. Like, stop playing. So that is my challenge for you. I want you to change something up in your life that's become almost like a habit, right? And I'm not saying things that are actually healthy and good for you, but like things that you feel that you hyper focus on. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's the way that you dress, the way that you do your makeup. Ooh, that's a good one. If you feel that you cannot leave the house without doing your makeup, I challenge you to go at least a week leaving the house bare face, raw as fuck. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, that's my challenge. Let's switch things up. Let's show ourselves that even in times of things changing, right? When we might look differently or we might present ourselves differently, we're still the same person. We're still that amazing being. We're still deserving of love. We're still deserving of respect. That's a big one. You still deserve respect, even if people around you do not agree with what you are doing. Let them motherfucking know, okay? So, with that being said, I think this is going to conclude the episode. I really like this episode. I was kind of contemplating because I was like, damn, like, I don't even know what the topic's going to be. But then it kind of naturally came because it's something that I experience a lot. And it's something that's been coming up a lot again. So I'm like, let me sit down and talk about it, because I'm sure that if this is a cycle that I've been, undergoing for so fucking long, there must be people out here who are also in the same cycle. And sometimes it feels frustrating when a lot of people don't really talk about it. I know I mentioned before the social media stuff where it's like people post such perfect moments that we forget that those perfect moments are usually like 1 or 2 seconds, and then everything else is just the reality of things. The behind the scenes, we don't ever see that. And it's important that we not only showcase our strengths, but we also showcase those moments of weakness, those moments of confusion, of darkness, of pain, right? Of struggles, because we all struggle. There's no reason for you to ever feel that you have to show up as this perfect being. Like, I'm not perfect. I think I'm very far from perfect, but just showing up for yourself and trying your best and understanding that even in those moments, I am still valuable. I am still deserving of love. Yes, you may have made mistakes. I made mistakes. We all make mistakes, but that doesn't change your value. That doesn't change what you are deserving of. That doesn't change that you are a worthy human being, a worthy, beautiful fucking soul on this earth. Okay? So forgive yourself. Hold space for yourself to be compassionate, to be open, to be patient. Let's say that again. Hold space for yourself to be patient with you, because things can be difficult, especially change, especially healing and growth and transformation. It can be difficult because it's not a straight line. It's never linear. That shit is whoop-de-loop, taka-doo-ga-doo-doo-doo. Like, it's all over the place. And it can be difficult to maneuver that path, and that's okay. You are not alone. There are people here who can help you. And if you feel that you are alone, hey, hi, how are you? I'm one person here who can help you, who can hold space for you, who will hold space for you anytime that you need it, okay? And I really truly want you to feel that, these episodes, this podcast in general, I didn't start it because I'm like, oh, I want to be famous, I want money, I want all these things. Like, I don't ever really think about that. I'm just like, you know what, I I want to create a space, an environment, a community where I can sit and just talk about this experience, because this journey for me, I feel like it's just getting started. Like for real, the juicy things are just getting started. So I'm excited, but it's also an expression of my process, an expression that we all have different processes, but we can connect in a lot of ways if we just held the space to be open and talk about it and be raw and be organic. Like, yeah, I heard all them background noises. I'm not in some super fancy studio, with like no background sounds. There's always something happening here. That's just the rawness of my life, and I'm sharing that with you. Just as there's always something happening in my mind, so I'm sitting down and talking about it. I'm sharing it. I'm being open, I'm being vulnerable, and I hope that you feel that it is safe for you to simply be here. I don't want to pressure you to ever share anything with me if you're not open to it. That's completely okay. I don't want to ever make you feel that you're pressured to be anything. Like, just simply be who you are. Not everyone is open to sitting here for what, 50 something minutes just listening to me, but that's okay. For those who have made it this far, you're really appreciated. And the same way that you held space for me to speak my mind and connect and share with you, I want to hold space for you anytime that you need it. All of my socials are in the link in my bio. I have TikTok, Instagram. I don't really use Facebook. I don't really use my Twitter anymore. But I also repost my podcast on YouTube if you want to see the video, because I am recording the video. If you want to see my little face, I do repost them there as well. So there are many ways that you can connect with me. And yeah, feel free. This is an open space for you. I love you. I love you. All right. This is definitely the end of the episode. I hope you have a fantastic morning, day, evening, night, whatever it may be for you, because you are deserving of the best and only the best things the universe has to offer. I will catch you on the next episode. I love you.